boring things that are not hidden from you on the chart. Be forgiving. Give yourself permission to be infallible. No, I said that wrong. Fallible. You don't want to be walking around like you're infallible. And that's what men try to do. They try to walk around like they're a man of steel, Superman. Women, they always ask me the right questions. I've never had a female student ever ask me a question that sounded like a man's perspective. It's never happened. It has never, ever happened. Men always are looking for ways to keep their ego from being bruised. Women are looking for a way to focus on what matters most for the model to be equipped in their hands appropriately. Not faster, so they don't do it wrong. Men, how can I run my account up and how can I pyramid? That's a man's question. How can I go out and win the Super Bowl? I've never worn pads before and I've never had a football in my hand. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. It's funny when you really sit back. I've had a very unique perspective as an educator, having so many people come through the fold. It's astonishing to see the same things repeating based on the female perspective and the male perspective. And I have lesbian students, I have gay students, and it's still the same thing. Men that are living gay lives, they don't think like women. They still have the same thought processes of the man. They want to do more. The women, even though they may live a gay lifestyle, they're still thinking like a woman. And to me, that's astonishing as well, because you can't escape who you are. And that's the problem with trading. If you come in with toxic thinking, if you come in with flawed logic or high expectations that are unrealistic for you to meet, no wonder you're going to want to quit so soon. You've made it harder for yourself. You don't need any extra help. It's going to be a very daunting task because you have to overcome yourself first. And everybody that's in a 90% bracket that quits and loses money and never does it anymore, it's because they lost to themselves. Look at how many times they traded. You don't know, that doesn't fit me, ICT. I've been doing this for 12 years. I've never been profitable. You don't know me, man. How many times have you really traded? You probably took 3 or 4 trades and blew the account. That's not enough experience. You just did things impulsively and you wrecked yourself and you had to wait and talk yourself into getting more money or whatever, sell some stuff in the garage. Now with funded accounts, now all you got to do is, wait a little while and the wife won't know about it and then pay for it. Get yourself a prepaid credit card off the bank or whatever in the aisle food line, and I'll just pay with that. She won't know. That's a problem. That is a problem. So you know enough that you know that you're not going to follow rules and you're going to hide it from her. If you're married, if you're in a serious relationship, you need to explain to them that you're pursuing this and you're not expecting to make any money soon, but this has now become a major focus for you, like a college pursuit. That way, you're not feeding them bullshit in the beginning, like, oh, we're going to be able to quit our jobs and blah, blah. Don't tell your spouse that. Don't tell your spouse that. Because you now elevated it to a level of expectation that they're going to hold you to. And why wouldn't they? You took it upon yourself to tell them that stuff. They love you and they trust you. So why would you think that they're not going to expect it? You're going to live up to that. And when you don't, in your eyes, you're going to manifest all the stress indicators. You're going to be grumpy. You're not going to be paying attention when the conversation's taking place. And when you start seeing these things in your personal life, you need to take inventory of that. Recognize them. Don't try to hide from it. Because all of that's going to do what? It's going to manifest itself in these candlesticks, just like a scrying mirror. You're going to see things that's going to show you your ugly side. And what are you going to do? You're going to feel uncomfortable. And as a man, you're going to do what? You're going to plow ahead. You're going to draw your sword, throw your shield down. You're going to draw your sword and run head on to meet that thing, and you're ill-equipped, and it's going to take your head off. The women in that same circumstance, they're going to sit still and do nothing, and they'll be paralyzed, and they won't take a trade. That's the dynamic with man and female. That's how they think as a trader. That's how they engage price in this stage. That's what they do. I have the data to support that. I have 1 million+ students, and I've had several decades of teaching. And I have said to the same talking points I'm giving you here, I've had more people say, I can't do that. I don't want to think about the things I'm doing wrong. So I just try to power through it as a man. Or a woman will say, I'm just not going to take the initiative to make that change. So they either sit still and do nothing, or the man does too much. And that's the repeating phenomenon that comes for the people that are spinning their wheels, that never find their way in this stuff. I promise you, it's not just because it's my content. They would have those same things in any other discipline of trading. It's because it's in them. That's the problem. When I was losing money and blowing accounts as a 20-year-old, none of it had anything to do with the trading, because the moves I was blowing my account on, they weren't even that big of a move. There was just small little retracements that I was over leveraged on, and I would try to make big positions with very, very, very small stop losses, and those cuts would just be boom, 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 and then the account's gone. And I was right that the market was going to go up to those levels I was aiming for, but I was not allowing myself to trade with just one contract and use a reasonable stop loss and just let it happen. I was trying to maximize as much as I could because I wanted to leave working. I wanted to be able to turn to my family and friends and say, you were wrong about me. So what was I trading for? Everything outside of being successful. I was trading to impress people that really, looking back now, they had no impact on me. Whether I did it or didn't, they didn't have any power over me. But I was giving them power by what I was doing. And you don't see it that way when you're going through it. And all these other things, it may not be that for you. It may be something else. There's so many things. I don't want to list everything because I've already went longer than I was supposed to again. But this is such a rich topic that I was going to write a fourth book and let it be about these types of things, but I just don't feel comfortable writing it. I think sharing my stories, letting you hear me tell you what I went through, it means more. And it's also therapeutic for me because it allows me to detox myself. Because there are some times when I think about how I could have done things better for myself. If I would have done things to fix my personal issues, address certain things, insecurities. When I had my first wife, I was telling her when we were together, I said, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be a trader and I'm going to live a different lifestyle. And your parents just don't understand. And she nodded and gave me a kiss and goes, yeah, we'll see. But that's not saying I believe you. That was like dismissing it. And I still feel that today. And I've not been with that woman for decades. Now, we're talking about when I was 19 years old. I would feel pain that's rooted, not that one, because I didn't start trading until 20, but I have things that I can go back to. And you have it too. And you have to journal that. You have to put that in your journal and say, these are my scars. This is what makes me feel insecure. And when my wife left me for a 40-year-old man, that was embarrassing for me. And it scarred me. And it made me take crazy risks because he drove my dream car, a Corvette, and bought it with a winning lottery ticket that she paid for. And he spent it and bought a vet. And I had to wrestle with, do I really like vets anymore because he did that? I love vets. Fuck him. He can do whatever he wants to do. But I own 2 of them now. And when I drive them, I don't think about them. I think about my car. This is my dream car. Everybody else can have their dream car. When I was a little boy, the Corvette was my dream car. And I could afford anything else out there. But I like that car. It's always been my thing. You have something that is deeply rooted inside you that causes you pain. Mine was embarrassment and shame that my first wife, who I never wanted to be with anybody else with, and she was the one I lost my virginity to. I could tell you the date, okay? I could tell you the time that it happened. Ask any other man, they probably can't tell you that. But that's what it meant for me. It was important for me. And I didn't want to be with anybody else. So when she left me, I was scarred, cut deeply, and the whole neighborhood knew about it. They knew about it before I did. So I was shamed, I was embarrassed, but it was something I didn't cause it. But she didn't live with me in a marriage that she thought that we were going to bloom into anything. Looking back now, I think she made the wrong decision, but it's okay. I wasn't meant to be with her. But I still carry all of that scar tissue. But that same scar tissue doesn't make me get into a trade. When it was doing it back then, when I was 20 years old, I was racing to make money to impress her, to win her back. And I wasn't supposed to be with her. I'm supposed to be with my wife I'm with now, with the children and the family I have now. But I have that same scar tissue that does have no influence on me now. But when you go through your personal life and you write down the things that make you feel invincible, are you lying to yourself? Are they really things that make you feel strong? Or are you masking something, compensating for something else? Because that's the thing that's going to hurt you. The thing that you're guarding and hiding from yourself and everyone else, that is the very thing that's going to motivate you when you are weak. And you're going to get weak. You're going to feel impatient. You're going to feel like you're missing out on something. You're going to just need to feel like you matter, or that you're successful, or you can do this. And at that moment, you're going to tap into, I'm going to do this because I have to prove to myself that that can't hurt me. And you're going to take larger risk. You're going to trade more frequently, and you're going to trade when there isn't a setup there, because you want to replace that feeling of what you feel all the time, but you pretend it's not there. It wells up inside you. You're shamed. You're embarrassed. Someone hurt you. Someone physically hurt you. Someone took something from you. You couldn't arrive at a level in your relationship and you lost them. Or you left somebody and then you know that you left them by mistake and now they're with somebody else and you can't win them back. How heartbreaking is that? And I have students that say that they would do anything to impress them, to get them away from the person they're with now. That's not likely to happen, but they carry that stuff in them, and then they go into the trades and they say, I need to feel better because I can't escape that. You got to let go of it. A lot of the stuff that you're holding on to, you're going to have to put it down. You're choosing to hold on to it. You're choosing to protect it and nurture it because it's become your new normal. And how would you feel if you weren't feeling like this every day? It's scary. It's uncertain to you. So it's easier for you to hold on to this. And you live with the depression, and you live with the anxiety, and you live with the guilt, and you live with the anger and fear. And all of that's going to manifest itself in these little candlesticks. They're going to be perfect little excuses for you to vent into. And when they don't do what you want them to do, it's worse. It will cut you deeper. It'll make you fear taking anything further steps forward. You'll say, this doesn't work. But you're lying to yourself. You're not even using it right. It's just like the next bottle of booze that an alcoholic reaches for. I usually drink Johnny Walker. I get drunk every Friday night. I can't stand it. But they didn't have any Johnny Walker, so I just started drinking whatever. I don't know. I know Johnny Walker. I don't know what that is. I know it's an alcohol. But I don't know enough to know what another alcohol drink is. It's a little embarrassing, even though I shouldn't be embarrassed by it. But the king of analogies just fell flat on his face today. I just don't have another alcohol, like the Budweiser. Yeah, it doesn't probably mean, it's probably not the same thing. I think Johnny Walker's a liquor, isn't it? But maybe vodka. I know there's another thing. But you're going to pick your vice. Okay? And you're going to do whatever you can to do it because you're trying to escape pain and you're self-medicating. And a lot of us self-medicate by tamping down pain. That means swallowing it and pushing it down deeper. But you can't keep doing that when you're a trader because it's going to materialize and manifest itself in your trades. And then because you're having to deal with it again and it's taking from you hope about success. It's taking money from you that you can't really afford to lose. And now you've made this little tiny gremlin, this little rock in your shoe, a mountain in front of you with a troll that's standing on top saying, you're never going to get up this high. You've given it a power that it's never had before. It's got more influence and power to keep you from being happy, successful, and, well, better. You've given it a power over you, and you're going to feel that. And you're going to personify the trade when it's just doing what it's going to do, regardless of whether you're in the trade or not. But now you've personalized it and personified it, and now you're wrestling with this thing. And you can't talk about it with anybody, because how embarrassing would that be? So, in the privacy of your own journal, not with someone on the social media, not in an email to me. Some of you probably already were sitting down writing emails. This right here, you just nailed me, and I'm so thankful. Don't even worry about doing that. Don't just find out what it is for you. What are these little things that you're hiding in yourself that are scary? They're hurtful. They hold a lot of animosity, and they are always things that you would never want anybody to know about. That's what I'm talking about. The things that you are ashamed of, the things that you are fearful that other people might find out about you. You're a man. I wouldn't want anybody to think that I have regrets about how I handle myself as a young man. But I've openly shared that in my YouTube channel. I don't hide it. I had relationships with married women, and I am not proud of that. I mean, nobody's perfect. I'm not making excuses for it. But these are things that I have to live with. I have to live with these decisions. And when I was younger, they were barriers for me. They caused me to do things impulsively because I didn't like my own skin. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. I didn't reconcile the problems I created for myself. I just put a Band-Aid and hide them. Just pushed it down, tamped them down deep. As long as I don't talk about it, bring it up, nobody knows about it, and it's just in my head. And I'll wrestle with them as I wrestle with them. Not realizing that stuff would manifest in my personal relationships with my friends. When I had to have a job, it would manifest in my performance at work. I was unmanageable. I would basically cuss everybody out and tell them, look, you screw you. And I had lots of jobs. I knew I would eventually get fired if I stayed there, so I would quit. Because I couldn't want to have them have that victory that they took me out of my job. So I would cuss them out, threaten them, I'll beat your ass, and there it is. And I would lose interest in being there because I knew now I've done showed my ass, so I have to leave. But that was a result of me not addressing the deep-rooted things in my body and my mind that I had to reconcile with. And everybody has it. Everybody has a skeleton in their closet. Everybody has things like this. Some of them are more significant than others, but doesn't diminish even the ones the least of significance that anybody else would look at and think, well, that's not that big of a deal. But to them that went through it and had to live with it and carry it around, it's huge. And they think that no one would understand enough, so therefore I would never want to see a counselor. I would never want to talk about it. I would never try to rectify it. I just have to bear it and carry it and keep it with me all the time, but never make it known to anyone. But you let it. It sneaks out all the time in your moments of weakness. It usually comes out in bursts of anger, small little things magnified into some monumental explosion. And something that would have never been an argument or a fight or an altercation is now been thrown gas on top of it because it's really this thing you're guarding and protecting or afraid now it's been manifesting. And you're not wrestling the person you're arguing with, your spouse, your family member, your child, your boss, your coworkers. You're wrestling with the guilt that you did not fix this sooner. And you have to wrestle it back down deep so no one can see it. And that's what's happening in your trades. That's what's going to keep happening in your trades. And it will not stop until you fix the root cause. That means you have to identify what they are. And most people don't want to. I guarantee you the viewership of this video has gone down precipitously because it ain't timing the market. I'm not telling you where the market's going. I'm telling you, you will not be able to find the right direction, let alone take a trade if you're wrestling with these things. Some of my best students are individuals that were in prison, or had substance abuse problems, and they fixed it before they tried to become a trader. I've had students that are substance abusers that are trying to get clean, and they're struggling because they have not fixed themselves yet. You won't be successful at this until you fix that part of you. I don't want to say anything more than that because I don't want to be negative, but that's the reality. Individuals that have gone through incarceration and they paid for their crimes, they know that this world's different now. Like my father, he's getting ready to come out here. He's not going to recognize any of this stuff. And if he was younger, what skill could he bring forward to be a gainful employee? Nothing. The last thing he did productive was shoot at Vietnamese in the Vietnam War. That's in his mind. That's it. So he has no work skills. He has nothing. He's not used to the way the world is right now, and he's admitted to my mom that he's scared. Now imagine that. 40 years. Here's a contract murderer, Mr. Billy Badass. He's admitted to my mother that he's terrified coming out. So what is he going to have when he steps out into the world? This same thing. And if he's not careful, he will let that thing manifest itself, and he could very easily make a mistake and violate and have to go right back in again. How's it any different? We're talking about the same thing. I'm teaching you how to live. How to live. It's not about just making money. You have to wrestle this stuff, keep it in subjection, and then, only then, you have all of the advantages of doing everything that's in front of you. But if you think you're just going to walk out here and carry all that stuff, and you're not going to have any adversities, and it's going to be easy for you, or if you're wondering why it's so hard, it's the internal stuff that you're wrestling with. And it's always that. This stuff isn't complicated. The people that say, "Oh, it's just too hard. Trading's too hard," you're just giving up because you don't want to put down those demons. You're nurturing them. These things that you're hiding in yourself that are problems that you know. If I was a counselor and you felt comfortable talking to me, these are the things that you're wrestling with, and you would say, this is what I'm going through. It's those things that are going to be the problems that cause you to think this is too hard. It's too hard for you to keep wrestling when them demons are given an opportunity to manifest themselves. See, when you're just tamping them down and drinking and doing the things that you do, smoking reefer, dumbing yourself down, calming yourself down, medicating yourself, you're hiding from those things. And weed heads generally don't do very well in trading either. But they'll be the same ones that will champion their wins and go online. Yeah, look at this. Show me everything. You're blocked. And that's the reality of all this stuff. And you can make this easier for yourself, or you can make it harder. And it doesn't make sense for you to make it harder. There's so many things I want to talk about still, but I have plenty of time the rest of the week. I've had a lot to say today. I believe wholeheartedly the things I've talked about. I think if you take a moment to think about what that means for you, really dial in on the things that you know what you try to hide, that are terrible things that you don't like about yourself. And I'm not talking about your weight or how you look in the mirror. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? I'm talking about the things that cause you to behave and think the way you think. Something scarred you, something made you angry, or something scared you so bad that you have not reconciled that. Or it's a physical dependency on alcohol or drugs. That's it. That's it. Because if you have the mental faculties, it doesn't matter if you're in a wheelchair. You could be an amazing trader, better than me. You being in a wheelchair or handicap has absolutely no bearing on how you can trade, because it's your mind. You could literally be a quadriplegic and tell the person next to you, all right, press the buy button, put the stop loss here, and there it is. Who's doing the trade? You are. You don't need your body to do it. You need your mind, because trading is won in the battlefield of your mind. Your trade's a winning trade before it's realized in that chart and your take profit is hit. Before that happens, it's already a winning trade in your mind. Because if you can't see it, believe that it's going to deliver like that, it's never going to go there. So how do you have a clear mind to get to that point? You have to get rid of all your baggage. You got to get rid of all that toxic stuff, toxic thinking, all the online drama stuff. Are you someone that constantly goes to drama stuff on the internet? Not just in the trading industry, but everywhere. Are you a Jerry Springer trader? You just can't wait to get into somebody else's business to see what they're doing wrong. Because chances are you love that because you are hiding so much more in yourself. That just hurts somebody's feelings right there too. Drama marketing, drama this, drama that. People flock to that stuff because it's a perfect excuse to hide the very things that they don't like about themselves. Because they're thinking, well, I hate living with this every day, but you know what? This is a beautiful distraction that I'm not the only one out there that's a train wreck. And I have a chance to laugh at that person like everybody else. And I'm guarded, I'm protected. They don't know the things I'm wrestling with. Because look what they would do if they knew this about me. And that's exactly what you're going to experience in trading. That stuff is going to well up. It's going to boil up over top and spill over into your trades until you reconcile them. You have to fix what they are. I have to identify them first, right? And that's scary. It's uncomfortable. But nobody needs to know what they are. You have power over this stuff. You have power over it, and you place it in your journal. You identify it. I feel insecure because this happened to me. Okay, release it. It doesn't define who you are. Don't give it any more power. Acknowledge it. Say, yeah, it's real for you to feel hurt when things happen to you. You're a human being with emotions. It's normal for you to feel that way. But social media has made it feel like we shouldn't have any emotions. We shouldn't care about nothing. Say things to people that they would never hear you say to their face. Divisiveness. You have to just let all that stuff go. And if you invite other people into this experiment of you going through the process of learning how to trade in the early stages, you have made it so much harder. You have now increased the level of difficulty to expert level. And you're not an expert. You're a neophyte. You're just starting. And that's why Caleb will not have comments open on this YouTube channel. Because what's going to happen is he's going to read them. And in a moment of weakness, he's going to say, yeah, this person said this and this, this. And then I'm going to hear it. I'm going to see it. And then I'm going to have to tell him, I'm angry that this did that. And I'm going to go out online and I'm going to say this, that, and the other thing. And they're going to clam up and they're going to do nothing. But I'm going to react to that because I'm like whack-a-mole. I like smacking trolls around. I love that. It's a sport for me. So to keep him from getting that recreational sport in his own thinking, he's not allowed to have the comments. He's not allowed to have interactions with any of you because he's learning. But I've already told him, I said it the other day when we were driving around, went to the gun range. I said, once you get to the point where you don't need Dad to tell you anything, you know your model, you know what you can do, and you're carving out your own money, and it's a significant amount of money. If you want to go out there and act like a fool and spar with these people online because they're idiots, I'm not going to be in your way about it. I'm not. But I just think it's dumb to do it because as the world's changing, people that have a following like myself and other people, okay, I might say something about someone's discipline and make fun of it, okay? In reality, sometimes I backpedal and I think to myself, you know, what the state of the world is right now, and the way it's so we're in a combustible state globally. All it takes is the right little spark and everybody can easily blow up. And that's what social media has cultivated. That's exactly why it was instigated. It was started for that very reason. And now it's festering in everybody. Like they can't wait to get online. Think about how many times you're looking at your phone. Your face is in the phone like a zombie all the time. You have a 4-inch universe that you're spending more time in than you are in the real world. Looking for everybody else to give you a dopamine hit, like your post, or you get to like somebody else's post, hoping that they like that you liked it. Again, you're doing all the wrong things, and you're trying to apply that same logic to trading. You want an emotional response. You want a dopamine hit. You want an immediate TikTok experience where you did something in the market, you entered the trade, so now you want to see a 100 handle run, just like that. And when it doesn't happen, or it's slowly moving, you're uncomfortable. I'm trying to prevent that kind of stuff with Caleb. I don't want him doing the toxic things I've done. I'm trying to be the best guide, but still be his dad. And I have to admit, it's very challenging because in the past, and I had a little bit of it last Thursday, I had a blast, but I had to get that out of me. But I'm trying very hard to be balanced because he knows what I'm capable of. He also has seen me in the real world when I had to do things when people were making threats to me or our family. Like I am not afraid of things like that. If something's in front of me, I'm going to run it over. I'm going to be a bulldozer and run it over. I don't cower from nothing. I don't hide from nothing. I'm in your face immediately. I want to neutralize whatever is the problem. I'm neutralizing it. It's not going to hang around. It's not going to fester. Let's go. You want to go? Let's go. That's not his mentality. And I told him, I said, when you start making money, I do not, the biggest thing, if you want to impress dad and you want to live up to my hopes for you, I told him, I said, I want you to have more control over yourself than I have. I want you to be able to say nothing that anything in the internet has ever bothered you. Because the way you live your life, once you get acclimated to this and you're successful, when you get to that point, the thoughts and opinions of others should never be a reason to punish yourself. Because when you entertain other people's opinion about you or me or whatever it is that you're learning how to do, when you're making money, what does it matter? Does it really matter what people think when you are living on your own money that you earned using this information? Why would you punish yourself for other people's opinions? Because that's what you're doing. When you get mad about that stuff, that's why I try to tell everybody, you think I'm mad. I'm not mad. I'm not a mad person. Now, I'm mad when people say they tried to do this stuff and they haven't really put a real good effort into it. That's fake. That's false. It's a lie. And I'm forcing my son in this test tube where he has absolutely no latitude to be able to say, well, I couldn't do it because. No, that we don't have any room for that. You are in the pressure cooker with me. And you're in front of the entire world and they're watching this. You asked for it and now you got it. But you're going to do it the way it needs to be done. And you have to make sure that you don't fall victim into finding dopamine, sense of accomplishment by having other people tell you, wow, you are a good trader. You know what tells you you're a good trader? You don't have to go to work. That's better than anybody telling you a message. They could have all the emojis in the world. That ain't the same thing as getting up and saying, well, I ain't got to go in traffic today. And make in one trade what you would earn in gross income over 3, 4, 6 months of your job. That's how you feel success as a trader. Not, I need somebody outside of myself to tell me I'm a good trader. Oh, you're ICT junior. Oh, you're going to be the next best thing. And don't think that way, son. Don't even have expectations to have that. I am impressed. I am pleased and I am proud of you, son. If you just do what's laid in front of you and you find contentment in that. That you don't have to do more than that. The world is your oyster. You'll be able to do whatever you want to do once you figure out yourself. But just do what I'm laying down in front of you. If you just do that, you've done far more than I ever hoped for. And you don't never have to impress me. You have already done everything I've expected of you. Because then if I have to lay my head down for the last time and I don't have any more time here, I can rest my head knowing that I have left this with you and your brothers and your sister and your mother. They're okay. It doesn't matter what happens. You can do it. That's how I think about this. I don't want you being another ICT. ICT's run its course. I've already said that I'm putting it down the end of this year. I'm doing that my own way. I don't want people hanging on me. I don't want people thinking I'm a celebrity. And honestly, I see all of the mentions that happen. Like if I go on the YouTube channel, it'll say comments, which I see all of them. The ignorant ones, I just ban a person. I don't ever see them again. You don't realize that you're banned, but you are. Your comment, when you look at the video, you'll see your comment still there. I never see it. Anything past that, I'll never see it again. I don't have time for you. You're insignificant to me. You're not even an ant. You're not even a gnat. But there's also this little thing, mentions. So there's comments and there's mentions. And once a week, I'll go through it and I'll hit it and I'll scroll through. I want to comment on everybody. But when I do leave comments on individual channels, generally they treat me like a celebrity, and I don't like that. Otherwise, if I wasn't treated that way, I would be just like one of the guys and I would comment like everybody else does. But you know what I'm talking about. If I've left a comment, like immediately it gets pinned, and then there's 1,500 people comes behind there. Oh, it's ICT. It's Michael. He left a comment. Like I'm some fucking Elvis or something. Like I'm literally nobody. I'm nobody. And it makes me uncomfortable. And I don't want you aspiring to do that, Caleb. I don't want you to have that aspiration to be that's your goal. Your goal should be, I don't need to work for money. And money is a tool. I don't have to wrestle with employers. I don't have to go through the rat race and have them steal any more time. You're in your 20s. You're young. You literally could carve this out, and by the time you're 30, be ridiculously rich. Friggin' ridiculously rich. Okay? And you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to get on here and trade live in front of other people, go ahead. I would love that. I would love that. Viagra all day long. That would absolutely, I would love it. Do I want you to do it? I'm not asking you to do that. So don't think that you have to live up to that. But if you choose to do that, man, that would be amazing. That would be awesome. But that's not what I hope for you. I hope for you to not have to work for your money. That's what I want. I want you to feel comfortable knowing that you can pay your way through this world and not have to ask somebody if you can have a day off or a vacation, and they ain't paying you too little for your time. You do that, you have met every expectation I have for you. My goal is for you to not have to work and that you live on your own steam, your own efforts, and you don't get reckless with it. You don't try to be a high roller. Don't try to be a show off. Don't brag. Don't talk down to people like I did when I was 20 years old. I was new money. And that was me coping with the uncomfortable state of I wanted to flex on everybody, because if they knew all the things I was wrestling with and the embarrassment and shame I had because my wife left me for a 40-year-old man, that was embarrassing. That was shameful to me. So I hid it by being a jerk to other people. And the people that I loved and that were friends of mine, I lavished them with money and gifts because I didn't want them to walk away from me. I wanted them to make me feel wanted and liked and appreciated, but I had to pay for it to feel it. Is that genuine? No. So I don't want you to fall in the trap, because as soon as you start making big money and people that know you see it, you need to be aware of who your real friends are, because your real friends won't change. They won't ask you for anything, and they won't increase the intensity about wanting to be around you. The ones that do that, that's the ones that's going to stab you in the back. That's the ones that are going to try to take you for a ride or take advantage of you. And I'll reserve the rest of the stuff tomorrow when we're talking over price. I've said enough. We've been here for a while, and I'm probably going to have to delete a lot of members' comments that were complaining about today. That's okay. But this is the stuff that you're going to wrestle with as a trader, okay? And the sooner you identify what they are and you journal them, and we work through coping skills this week on how to overcome all of them. If you're a viewer, you're eavesdropping in this lecture I'm holding with my son. I don't cover the thing you're wrestling with. Say we get to Friday, and then say sometime over the weekend, you feel like you have a unique experience and you feel comfortable trusting me that, in anonymity rather, where you don't have to reveal yourself. You can create a burner email address and leave a comment to me like saying, this is what I wrestle with. I won't know your name, but I would love the opportunity to have something that I don't cover here. And if I have a way of mentioning what I would do to deal with it, I would love to have the opportunity to do that. I would never say who said it. I would never, pretend to be a counselor or a psychologist. I'm not claiming to be that. I'm not out to fix it. But the ones I'm going to cover this week, I think, are the most paramount ones. And a lot of them are going to be very similar to the ones I'm going to talk to and speak on. But the main thing is not to be fearful of identifying those problem characteristics and traits within yourself. Because if you're insecure as a person, and mine was insecurity, it will manifest itself in your traits. And then you'll beat yourself up protecting that demon of insecurity or hurt or fear or anxiety about something, or you're in a problem relationship. Whatever that is, you're going to guard that thing and you're going to beat yourself up. Oh, you're stupid. You don't know how to trade. You can't learn how to do this, or this stuff doesn't work. You're going to externalize all of the results instead of saying, see, this is further evidence that I'm manifesting all this toxic stuff I'm holding on to because I'm making decisions based on periods when I lean on that stuff in a state of normalcy. You punish yourself every day. You don't realize it, but you are. And just think about how many times you think or say toxic things all day. The average person says over 300 negative things per day. No way, no way. Well, I can tell you what, I can do about 15 times that because I talk too much, right? But the average person thinks and says over 300 negative things a day. It could be self-centered, attacking themselves, or doubt. Perfect example, I was telling Caleb, I know we're supposed to end the video, but it just jumped on my head. I was explaining this to my son. I said, listen, the channel will grow and it'll alleviate some of the pressure you're feeling while you're learning, okay? It'll probably be around $10,000 a month when we get to Thanksgiving or just after Thanksgiving. And he shook his head like, no way, no way. And I'm like, are you nuts? Like, I already know as soon as I start putting videos up there, all of the members here that watch on this channel, just morbid curiosity is going to take their attention over there. And even if they just watch it for a few minutes, they're watching it. Okay? So they'll see what it's all about, whether they stay or not. It's not important, but people will watch it because most of the people want to see how you're evolving in it. And then they're going to feel comfortable about their self because they're going to see that you're going through the same things that they're going through. Because they look at you as my child. Like my son should not have any adversities because he's ICT. Son. His dad is ICT. So therefore, it's unreasonable to expect him or any of his offspring to have any hardship in learning how to do this because he's ICT's son. Like that's somehow an advantage. We're all human beings. We all wrestle with stuff. We all wrestle with stuff. And they're going to have the unique perspective because you said you were willing to do this, which I'm astonished by, but you said you were willing to do it. And you're going to be very candid about what you're feeling, what you're fearful of, what you're making a big deal out of that may or may not be valid. And they're going to take a whole lot of solace in that because they are going to be able to see that, wow, this is the same shit I'm thinking. I've been thinking the whole time I'm stupid for feeling this way. And here's ICT's son even doing the same things, thinking and worrying about the same things. But they'll see this is how I'm going to coach and teach you how to go through that. And then they can apply that same logic to themselves. Whether or not it works for them, I'm not promising that, but you're my son, so I'm giving you, this is the solution I'm supposing that you should use. Or if it's something I went through, this is how I overcame it. Or this is what you should do to work around it till you get better at it. And then your success will counter a lot of the things that you have as a problem. The problem is he's a male. And I've seen a few times where as a young man, and especially as a little boy, given enough rope, he'll run wild. Like he'll go wild. Out of all my kids, I'm impressed that he's the one that's wanting to do this. I thought for sure it was going to be Cody. It's not. And I thought Cameron, because he's very competitive in sports, but it's not. And now he's the only one that said, I want a second chance at it, Dad. Because they found out that it's not easy. And it's easy to say, you know what, I'm just going to lay it down. I got Dad. You know, he's always here. And whenever I want to, he'll gladly want to teach me. And I've been frustrated because I've been wanting them, just one of them, just go through the ropes, find your model, and make money. And your brothers and your sister will be like, oh, I want to do that now. It's like anything else. You give one kid an ice cream or a toy, they're all gonna want to listen. I'm a good girl, mommy. I'm a good girl, daddy. What do you want me to do? I clean my room. They're gonna do all the things that you want a kid to do when one child is given a reward. So you're gonna see what it's like for him. You're gonna hear it. You're gonna see the struggles. You're gonna see all that stuff. But I told him I don't want him to get cocky. I don't want to see arrogance. I told him, I said, if I see you do that, I'm done. I told him, I said, how you conduct yourself in the real world when I'm not around you. Because right now, you don't even have a video on there, and already there's 20,000 people subscribed to your channel. When you start seeing more traffic and there's more interest around you, people will want to befriend you. They're going to be like, oh, they're going to say everything to blow smoke up your ass to make you feel like that you're something you're not. Don't allow that. Don't allow it. You just stay who you are. You're humble, Caleb. That's it. You're not trying to be ICT 2.0, Mr. Ego, Kid Ego. You're not trying to do all that stuff. If you never set that mark that high, nobody will expect you to live up to it. And guess what that means? You're liberated from all that stuff. Everybody wants me to go out there and do the impossible things. If you never, ever do those things, they will never hold you in that regard. And anything that you share publicly, as long as it's a person with common sense, they'll say, well, you know, that's an interesting experience that you shared. It may not be an invitation for other people to mimic what you're doing and try to copy it and say, well, that's the path I'm going to go. But they'll be morbidly curious to see what it is. And the pressure that you're feeling from your job, that will reduce a little bit. And then that deficit and stress and pressure that you feel while you're working will give you more energy, and it'll stoke the fires for you to study more, which does what? It shifts all the concern and pressure away from what everybody's used to doing, which is the 9-to-5 rat race. And then you'll start feeding that secondary hustle, which is learning how to trade. This is why I tell all of you as my students, once you learn your model, once you learn it, I don't have a problem with you going out there and doing YouTube channels and running up, a subscriber base where people are watching you use it. I encourage that. Number one, it further solidifies with more testimonial and proof that I have profitable students using what I taught. It doesn't just work in my hands, it works in the students that put the effort into it. But you also, while you're growing, because you're not going to be a millionaire overnight, some of you may never become a millionaire. You might just make a couple $1,000s here and there a couple times a year. And hey, it's better than not having money at all, right? Let's be real. Not everybody's going to be rich from it. I don't claim you're going to be rich from it. But you have the potential to make as much as you want. But while you're learning how to get better at it, and until you can arrive at, I don't need to work anymore, It would be foolish for you not, if you have the disposition and personality to live stream. I don't believe I do. It may seem like I do, but I don't believe I do. I like to talk in pre-recorded sessions because I've already said certain things in this live stream that I would have liked to edit out because I felt like I was being too personal or maybe mentioning things that may upset people that are wrestling with certain things. I would have cut that stuff out, like substance abuse and stuff like that. Like I wish I could go back and take that part out. That's what I'm thinking in my head as I'm talking to you. I would have edited that part out. And some of you have been like, I'm glad you said it. But there's a lot of people that would come forward and say, I wish you wouldn't have said that. Or they'll claim, you stop trying to be a psychologist. You're a crackpot anyway. Like you're always going to have some clown that's going to be argumentative. But I want Caleb to know that he doesn't have to live up to high, lofty expectations. And I'm helping him lay down a foundation of what is reasonable, what is now in an area where it's going to be problematic. And he has to conduct himself now as a public figure because I've been in public and people have seen me in public. And sometimes they get out of their cars, they're walking around with their phone and they're filming me and taking pictures of me and my wife. And wow, ICT, can you, and I'm like, ugh. And it is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't want to be like that. And I certainly don't want my son like that. And it's uncomfortable. You don't know what these people are going to do. They may pretend like they're wanting to take a picture with you, just get close enough to hurt you or your family, and I don't want those problems. So I told Caleb, you're not a celebrity. You're not trying to be a celebrity. And as soon as you start carrying yourself arrogantly, I'm done. You'll know as much as you know, and that'll be it. And that's what I want for him. And if he lives humbly and he learns to make a good living, he can do whatever he wants to do online and not be, celebrity status. The problem is I've invited listeners to feel like I'm approachable. Like you feel like you really know me. And unfortunately, some people have taken a step too far, thinking, I really like Michael. He's a nice person. He's going to appreciate me going up and meeting him. I don't feel comfortable with that. That makes me scared because I don't know why you're coming up to me, what your intent is. And it may not be a good intention. So that's why I handle these situations the way I do. And I may not come across in a manner that seems like that nice guy on the internet, that mild-mannered Mr. Rogers voice or whatever. You hear, given enough time in a live setting where I can go off the rails. And if I'm with my family and you're coming up to me, I'm not Mr. Rogers, okay? I'm literally not Mr. Rogers. I'm ready to do something to you because I don't know what your intentions are. So this is a little reminder for folks that take it upon themselves to go too far. I love all of you as my students. I do. But that's not an invitation to encroach on my personal and private space and my family. And I'm reminding Caleb of that because social media has a wonderful element to it, but it also has a weird dark side where people think that they can say things, make up things, lie, do things that are not true for the sake of selling some storyline. Okay. And also, because of that, people that like you, that have an unhealthy level of adoration towards you, are willing to do things that are not sane just to defend your honor, and you've never asked them to do it. So you're not a celebrity. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a hero. I'm the anti-guru. I'm doing everything a guru wouldn't do. I'm pouring myself out here where I could be making millions of dollars doing it. I'm doing it for free. And I'm sharing the most intimate private lectures that I would give to my son. You all have the ability to sit and listen to it or ignore it. You don't have to be here. But if it wasn't for him saying he wants this, like I said, I'm pouring myself into it. And I'm going to do what I believe he needs to know and how to learn how to do this. But he has to learn the way I believe it's done best. And I don't want anybody else's opinion about it because if you haven't made millions of dollars, you don't have a soapbox to stand on. So don't tell me. He's my kid. My intentions are better than yours. And if he fails, I have other things I can do without giving him money to make sure he's successful. So it's not dependent on him learning how to trade. He doesn't have to be a good trader that makes millions of dollars. If he just makes a little bit of money, okay, just that little bit of money, he can do a lot with in the right hands with other people. So, and that discussion will be covered when we get into later points of his progress. But using a YouTube channel to augment and provide an income in addition while you're learning as a student, that's not my son. Okay, if you want to have a crutch while you're learning, there's a lot of people that are interested in other traders, and it's not just ICT traders, right? It's anybody that wants a live stream. If you're good at what you're doing, I'm a trader that is set in my ways. I don't want to learn anything else, but I love watching other people trade. Like, I love it. Like, to me, there's nothing else better than that. I'm not a sports fan, and to watch someone that would execute, use a stop, manage their stop loss, and take profit, and kind of like reveal what they feel while they're in a trade and what they think, how they're thinking about the trades, what I'm more interested in. I watch that kind of stuff, and unfortunately, there isn't enough of it. And I'm trying to foster this mindset in my own community where I can't watch everybody, obviously, but I'm hoping that the things I'm teaching here will inspire some of you to do more of that. And if you make an income or a secondary hustle where you're getting a little bit of ad revenue while you're doing what you're doing, and I'm not saying teach my stuff. I've already said that none of you should be even teaching because you don't know. But if you want to reveal how you use what I taught, you're not trying to be a mentor. You're saying, I'm not trying to teach it. I'm just saying, this is what I do, this is how I trade with it. Well, there you go. There's nothing wrong with that. Because you're not trying to do something you're not equipped to do, but you're doing something that you're used to using the information with. That's not teaching. You're just demonstrating prowess with it. And to me, that's a better thing to do, because anybody can repeat what I've said and sound smart. But when you're actually doing it, you got a nod from me. Like that's the real one. The people that are out there teaching, they're behind the wall of safety because they can talk about it conceptually. But when you're out there just trading and that's your whole thing, like, I'm just trading, there's no shame in that. And nobody can say anything bad about it. Nobody can, because you're out there doing it. You're making or breaking in front of everybody. And if you're making money, people are going to come here and watch you. And it's easy. It's very, very easy to get $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month with just a steady live stream of this is what I'm doing. And who wouldn't want to do that? Because the tax treatment that Caleb can use while he's working a job, he can't write off his car insurance right now. But with a YouTube channel, he can. So he's got to pay that regardless. So why not get a tax write-off and lowest taxable income? Because his job income, he can't write that stuff off. Just like you can't do it either. When he buys food, he can't write that off. His cell phone bill, he has to pay it regardless. So why not be able to use it as a write-off when you have a YouTube channel? There's a lot of things that a YouTuber's tax treatment can do that a trader can't do. You don't know that because you're not financially literate, okay? The fact that he can have this as a business before he starts making big money in trading, he could start taking this money and put it into a Roth IRA up to $50,000 a year, and he can trade that $50,000 that's in a tax-deferred investment vehicle. So all the money he's making, instead of having to pay taxes every year on it, he can compound that bigger, and inside of 5 years, he can have $10, $20, $15 million and not even work hard to do it. But you don't know that because you're financially illiterate. So I get it. You have your preconceived notion because you're all intellectually smart because you've read other people's opinion about me or anybody else. But you have no idea what he's about to step into. And I'm reminding him that when I throw these numbers at him, he shakes his head. He's like, nah, it ain't going to happen. Like, literally, what makes you think that? You have no experience to say anything that said that can't be possible. But because he's never handled that money, he's never had that money in his hands that he's earned, it seems impossible to him. And that's the very thing that keeps most people from ever wanting to learn how to do this, from me or anyone else, because they think that it can't happen. He can take vacations that he's going to take anyway So now he can write that stuff off. All he has to do is do one YouTube video while he's on vacation, quote unquote, and it's a complete write-off. Anything he eats is 50% write-off. So why aren't you all doing it? Why aren't you doing it? More people would love to see other students doing this, but it's not for everyone. It's absolutely not for everyone. And you have to have a thick skin, because if you allow the chat window to be open and the comment section open, you're going to a lot of trolls. And if you wear your heart on your sleeve out there, or if you take everything as an attack, it's going to make it hard. But you can literally build a channel and progress be shown to other people that you want to make it known. I'll watch it. I'll see it. But it'll help you meet your ends while you're getting better at it. There's no shame in that, man. There's literally no shame in that. And you'll see the people that are willing to do it, some people will progress faster than others. And you'll understand what I mean by, you have to be comfortable with allowing it to happen at your own pace. Your own pace. And if you try to force it, it makes it harder. And it makes it longer. You think working harder and longer will shorten it, and it's not. You have to budget your time doing it, because you burn out quick. It's a lot of stuff. It's very technical. And if you have a lot of baggage that you wrestle with, you already should make allowances for it taking a lot longer, because it's going to be hard for you to put down these things that you live with, that you wrestle with every day, that cause you problems in your personal life. You're either an angry person, or you're an insecure person, someone that clams up real quick and shuts down immediately, or you have trust issues. All these things, they manifest themselves. So I'm coaching Caleb like that, because when he was younger, he had to have counseling. He had to have that kind of stuff, because he has bipolar episodes as well. And it's hard for a child to wrestle that. And a parent can't fill that void, because they see the parent as, this is my guardian, this is my caretaker, and it's also my dad and my mom. So where do you draw the line with discipline, and also how to grow with the proper mindset and not feel like everything's abuse or neglect? It's hard. It's very hard. So I'm proud that he's made this decision. Like, I thought when he was like, I ain't worried about it, that was the end of it. It was going to have to be one of the other kids. Because I honestly didn't think he would want to do this or have the aptitude. And I don't mean that he's my son, I can say that. But I didn't think he was going to have the aptitude to do it. Because he's, out of all my kids, he's different. He's different. But he was wild as a little boy. Like, he was like 100 mile an hour. Like, he had to have a short chain on him, because he literally was all over the place, 100 mile an hour. But intellect-wise, he's capable of doing it. But focus-wise, that was my concern. But now in the last couple of years, he's slowed down and matured. I think he's found himself as an adult. So I think he's equipped now to do it. So I'm anxious to see where he goes with it. I'm excited to see it. I'm all in. Like, I'm all in. And I'm hoping that he has the endurance to go through it. Because once he has a little bit of success, he will, like me, obsessively leech onto that and suck its marrow out and life's blood, and it'll feed him into his next stage of development success. And then that's exactly what it's like. You find your footholds and you climb up that mountain one step at a time. Nobody walks up to the mountain, looks at the top, and says, this is going to be easy, fast climb. You have to plan your route and make allowances for things not being exactly as you thought. So with that, probably got about 200 people watching still, if that. That was enough for today, Caleb. And I will touch base with you this evening once you get home and get settled. And we'll go over the charts. Until I talk to you then, be safe.